What is up, everybody? Welcome into this week's episode of It's Called Football on the Vendetta Sports Media YouTube channel. Jerry Walker and Jackson Fyda here to recap all of the Premier League action from this kind of midweek because we had FA Cup last weekend. We're not really going to touch on that. It was the third round. We saw teams win 8-0, 7-0, some intriguing ones between non-league teams, but nothing really worth diving into. But we are going to cover the last 2 days of Premier League action. We were recording Wednesday night, January 15th, after the second day of these midweek fixtures have played. There are two more games tomorrow, and that's Man U hosting Southampton, Ipswich hosting Brighton. We're not really going to dive into either of those, but we will look ahead at the upcoming weekend as well. Jackson, though, before we hop into that, how are you doing? How's the week been?
Doing all right. Can't complain. Great day. What a great day. We'll get into it, but what a great day. So I'm doing pretty fantastic right now.
Excellent. And that's a good intro for it. Might as well start there. Arsenal, Tottenham, the North London derby. Tell us what happened.
We kicked ass. I mean, it was only a 2-1 final. They did get the first goal, but we dominated from start to finish. We really did. They showed sporadic moments of quality, but realistically, Arsenal should have won that game by 3 to 4 goals. No, it was really good showing on that front. Like, I thought very solid with possession, set pieces again. Biased, but I don't think I've seen a Premier League team as dangerous on set pieces as Arsenal has since Stoke City and the long throws existed.
That's a great pull right there.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen anything like that since. And with Stoke, it felt more like chaotic, like they were just throwing it in and they're trying to get the chaos and then pounce on the chaos. With Arsenal, it feels very systematic, very organized. The ball goes exactly where it needs to go, where it meets the runner. It's perfect. The goal today, the very first one, ball was perfect right onto Gabriel's head back post. We've seen it multiple times this year with Arsenal, just perfect set piece delivery to a guy who's wide open. That's not coincidence when it happens this much. That is training, that is dedication, and that is attention to detail. And that's why Arsenal is getting a lot of their goals from set pieces. We've been spending so much time on it. Look really solid.
I'd say it also helps when you have guys like, not currently, but Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, swinging in crosses, some very, very skilled passers of the ball, those two. But I do have a question for you because I wasn't able to watch the match. I was flying. But I heard before Trossard scored, because his goal came off a corner as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
Did the ball actually hit off him? Was that?
It
did. So it was a little mess up by VAR. Did VAR even intervene? Or?
I think the problem was the corner was already taken, so he moved on to the next play. So you can't go back.
Yeah, that makes sense then.
So
I didn't see it, so I wasn't sure. But.
No, again, and it's unfortunate, right, from a Tottenham perspective, because it should have been a goal kick. But at the end of the day, you just got to defend the corner.
Yeah.
I don't really have a whole lot of sympathy because it's not like the goal happened because of that. The goal happened, sure, you get the corner, but it happened because you didn't defend it well. And honestly, the goal was coming. Like, you could see it as you're watching the game. Arsenal was just pressuring them the entire time. They had the ball, it felt like, in their attacking third the vast majority of the game. Tottenham was struggling to get the ball out of their own half for much of the game. So it was coming, and yes, it should have been a goal kick. And I do think that's an area where we could improve with VAR in the future, where you could get better real-time decisions to avoid a situation like that, or maybe change the VAR rules where if it is a situation like that and the corner shouldn't have been given, maybe you can go back and fix that, But the reality is it's not how it works right now. How it works is the ref didn't see it. VAR's not going to intervene with something like that. It was tough. Like, you can't blame the ref. He's on the other side of the field. The angle would have been impossible for him to really tell, So you can't really blame them. It's not their fault. And again, at the end of the day, you just got to defend the corner, right? And because of that, it was 1-1. Kind of the game continued the same style. Arsenal was controlling. Fine to Trossard goal. It should have been saved. But, I mean, it was still a very good hit. I'm going to say that. Trossard had a fantastic game. He was putting people on the floor, scored the goal. He was phenomenal. So that happened 2-1. At that point, it felt comfortable because it never really felt like Tottenham was going to score. Like in the second half, I never really felt like Tottenham was going to score. It felt like Arsenal should have scored plenty of times. The finishing and beyond the finishing, the final ball half the time was comically bad. Kai Havertz, Raheem Sterling, all those guys should have done better. There should have been at least one more goal. I'm shocked there wasn't, to be completely honest. Odegaard as well had a very, very clear chance that he didn't put away. But at the end of the day, it was a really good showing from Arsenal on top of Tottenham from the start. Showed great character to come back after the Son goal, because when you're dominating a team and then you get scored on against a run of play, it's a little demoralizing.
Mhm.
So the fact that the group stayed together, kept doing their thing, ultimately got the 3 points and beat our biggest rivals, it's a great day. It's a great game. There's nothing you can be really too unhappy about. Like, sure, you want more goals. You want it to be easier, but 3 points is 3 points.
It doesn't matter if you win 8-0 or 1-0. It's
Mhm.
same amount, but we will touch on the other teams. But this brings Arsenal 4 points behind league leading Liverpool. Liverpool do have a match in hand, but they had a very exciting one that we'll touch on next against Nottingham Forest yesterday. But I want to touch on Tottenham. This is a disaster of a club. They were sitting kind of pretty, looking like they were going to compete for European football again. Go out and beat Man City at the Etihad 4-0.
Mm-hmm.
That was back on the 23rd of November. So a little over, just under 2 months ago. Since then, in the league, they have 1 win in their last 9 matches. They've lost 4 of their last 5, with the only exception being a 2-2 draw home to Wolves. Sure, you're playing Forest, you're playing Arsenal, you're playing Liverpool, Newcastle, so you play the top 4. But this is a Tottenham team that you expect to at least be competitive, not losing 6-3 at home to Liverpool, not being absolutely dominated by your arch rivals, even if it's a road game. This team is just so mediocrely bad this year. And I don't know entirely why. I'm still convinced Ange isn't necessarily the issue.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think it's time for them to start thinking like maybe it is Ange? And I know it's only a second season.
Yeah.
But you also got to, at the same time, you got to look at their cup stuff. Sure, they actually did win 2 cup matches this week. Beat Liverpool 1-0 in the Carabao Cup, and then beat Tamworth tragically in extra time.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
That would have been incredible. But
that would have been awesome if that had happened.
It's just 2 completely different teams. You have the Cup Tottenham and the League Tottenham.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even look at the Europa League. They're sitting 9th in the Europa League tables. They're tied on points with the Rangers, a point back of Man U and Galatasaray for that automatic bye, more or less, into the knockout stage. So I don't completely understand, because they're so good in Europe and good in cups, but so bad and pitiful recently in the league that it's kind of just shocking, because there's talent there. And you go up 1-0 again completely against the run of play today and end up with your striker scoring an own goal off a corner. Yeah. And it wasn't necessarily his fault, I don't think.
Yeah, no, it's an unfortunate bounce off Gabriel. Yeah, but
it's like that kind of luck is happening for him in the league, and it's just almost comical at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's unfortunate, right? Because they do have injuries. Vicario out. That's why the new signing Kinski was playing today. By the way, dude is rattled on the ball. He looked uncomfortable. Yeah, sometimes he played a really good pass, but he looked very uncomfortable on the ball, to the point where if I was Arteta, every time he touches it, which they did, you run at him as fast as you can, because he messed up a few times. So he had to play.
This was – which guy was this?
His name's Antonin Kinski. They just signed him.
Oh, yeah, the goalkeeper.
Yeah, 10 days ago. He's a 21-year-old. He's young, shows a lot of promise, but he looked uncomfortable on the ball. Yeah, I don't think he also did a good enough job leading, because he's 21. He just got to the club. He got thrown right into the fire, basically. Mm-hmm. So that happens because Vicario's out. You've had other injuries as well this year. You're looking at guys like right now, Christian Romero's not playing. Their vice captain. He's out. Mickey Van de Ven.
Out.
So they've had problems as well, so it's kind of understandable in that sense, especially when you're
Yeah.
missing defensive players. Because to be fair, offensively, I think I heard that they have the second most goals in the league behind Liverpool. Like they're
Yeah,
scoring
that's
goals,
true.
you know?
Yeah. 43 goals to Liverpool's 48. It's just they've conceded
Yeah.
32. And
Exactly. And think about where the injuries are
yeah.
defensively
Yeah.
and
I
in goal.
mean, you look at the ages, you have a 21-year-old in goal. You're
Mhm.
starting two 18-year-olds and Archie Gray playing center back, and then Lucas Bagalvo in the midfield. And then even Radu Dragusin is 21. So this is
Yeah.
a very young and inexperienced back line, which now looking into it, it does make more sense of why they've been so rough. And at the same
Mhm.
time, you're like, I hate the injury excuse. I know it happens, but that's one that's like, it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
Arsenal without Ben White, without Jesus now, without Bukayo Saka, and they're still finding ways to go out there and play.
Mhm.
That's like,
Yeah.
and this is one where you have these injuries, you have these issues, they're probably not coming back anytime soon. What is Tottenham going to do in the transfer window?
Yeah. So far, I think they've just gotten Kinski.
Yeah,
I don't think they've gotten anyone else.
and that's the only one they've signed.
Yeah. And again, it's good to look at the injuries from an analysis perspective, right? Kinda
Agreed.
helps you paint the picture, kinda helps us understand why are things going wrong for a team that scored the second most goals in the league.
Hmm.
Well, your vice captain and senior leadership in the back line's been injured. Your star young center back's been injured. Your goalkeeper's out, and you've had some other injuries as well. It makes a little bit more sense. But
Yeah,
again,
when you break it down that way.
yeah. But Ange can't use that as an excuse because
Mhm.
why don't you have the depth? Why don't you go sign the right players? Why isn't Tottenham going out and getting guys who, if someone goes down like Romero or Van de Ven, they can't just step up and automatically be
Mhm.
playing at least a similar enough level where there's not a huge drop off, you know? So going all the way back to when you asked, is it time to start thinking about moving on from Ange? I'm going to say no
Yeah,
because of what's happening in the League Cup. If
agreed.
you can win the League Cup, that that's probably good enough. If especially if you turn things around in the league just a little bit at least, you know? So
Yeah, I mean, you make a run in the Europa League, you win the League Cup.
mhm.
As we all jokingly know, it's not very often Tottenham wins a real piece of silverware.
Yeah, outside of Asian preseason tournaments
Yeah,
and the Audi Cup, you've got zilch,
yeah.
nada. So
It nothing since like the 50s or 60s when I think they did win an FA Cup, but
yeah.
it so I mean, if he comes in and does that in his second season, hats off to him. Fair play. I don't see how you could sack him at that moment.
Yeah, especially because 'cause you'll take out Liverpool in the process if you do it,
Yeah.
which would be a phenomenal achievement.
I mean, realistically, I guess it's a tall order after the first leg, but we
Yeah,
could see a North London derby rematch in the
you
final
could. You
potentially.
could.
But
Probably won't
two
because
nil losing 2-0 at home is tough.
Arsenal and domestic cups right now, this last few weeks,
Really this last
had
week.
my blood pressure raised exponentially. It's just, oh my gosh. Especially it's not even, I don't, we can't dive into this, but the Man U game especially. But no, I mean, go like if Tottenham does win the League Cup, that's a huge achievement. So you can't get rid of the guy who's got you in the semifinals and has a 1-0 advantage over Liverpool right now. You got to keep him. And I also think they'll turn it around at some point a little bit. I don't think this team looks better than ninth place. But if you win the League Cup and you finish in ninth, is that really that bad of a season? It's probably the best season you've ever had.
Yeah, and you
Or
still
I guess a Champions League final appearance is pretty cool, but it's silverware.
yes, exactly.
So
I mean, hey, I think that I'm pretty sure that still qualifies them for Europe next year, even if
mhm,
they are finish.
it does. You get Conference League, I think.
So there's still all that to play for, and I mean, I don't see them reaching for any titles or any European places, but they win the cup, you're into Europe.
Mhm.
And
And they're also still in Europe right now.
exactly.
It's not going great, but they're still in it, and they're going to advance to the knockout rounds.
It's
So,
going better than a certain team from
mm,
England in the Champions League, so and
mhm,
Spain and France.
yeah.
So you're saying there's a chance.
There is indeed.
But I mean, should be interesting. We'll touch in next week's episode, unless we have time at the end of this, we will dive into more of the European side of things. For those watching, just because this is a Premier League show, we will focus on the Premier League teams, Premier League players, but we definitely get like talking about the Champions, Europa, and Conference League. So we are going to move on though to the other game, the big game yesterday between top of the table foes, Nottingham Forest and Liverpool. Chris Wood on fire. Second, I would say maybe the second hottest player in the Premier League at the moment.
Yeah.
Alexander Isak, 8 goals in a row in 8 games, or
9 and 10 in all comps.
Yeah. Man is ridiculous right now. Became the 4th player ever to score in 8 consecutive Premier League matches. So fair play to him. But Chris Wood,
away from the record.
Yeah.
You know, like the Vardy record's not too far to reach.
No, it isn't. What is it? The record's 11?
It's 11. It's heaven for Jamie Vardy. That's how I always remember it.
And I mean, I've seen a lot of comparisons between this Forest team and that Leicester team.
Yeah, bringing it full circle. I was just thinking that watching that game. I'm like, this has such Leicester City vibes where you almost go down the year before, you recover a little bit toward the end, and then you just kick ass the next season.
And I mean, Forest has historically been a solid team. Won 2 Champions Leagues or 2 European titles at the time, or European Cup titles when it was called that before the Champions League. But they go out. You saw them beat Liverpool 1-0 earlier in the season at Anfield. You think, okay, that's about as good as it's going to get. I don't expect them to repeat it. You and I talked consistently or continuously about they're going to fall off. It's only a matter of time. We were wrong. I think I'm conceding that Forest is going to hang around and be a title threat this year. They go and ultimately draw 1-0. Diego Jota did get the equalizer. But drawing 1-1 with the league leaders was an incredible performance from Forest.
Defensively, they balled out. That Murillo, I love that man. Watching him play, just hard-nosed tacklers, intercepting balls. Sure, he's kicking probably 1 out of every 4 passes out of bounds, but he was defending unbelievably well. I love seeing that. And going back to your point, Chris Wood has been phenomenal, and his movement on that goal was really well done. First of all, Upamecano messed that whole thing up. He got caught way too high, and they were able to easily break. And Van Dijk, sure, he let Chris Wood slip off his shoulder a little bit, but at the end of the day, he was kind of left on an island, and Chris Wood saw this, and this is what I love about him. He took advantage of it, and he buried the goal. He saw that Upamecano was out of position, and that Van Dijk was kind of left on an island, and was able to just list a little to the left of Van Dijk, get the ball, and buried it. I mean, it was a great – and it did it early too. Did it at the very beginning of the game. Kind of set the tone.
And it's very impressive. And the thing is, the expected goals for Forest. For Liverpool, it was almost 2 expected goals. For Forest, it was 0.31.
Yeah.
So good play. And they just find a way to do it. Dominated statistically wise. 71% possession, 29 in favor of Liverpool. 7 shots on target to 3 for Liverpool. Total shots, 23 for Liverpool to 6 for Nottingham Forest. Yet Forest found a way to do it. And it's to your point that you just made that the defense was superb.
Matt Sells as well.
Yeah.
Matt Sells' goal was phenomenal. He made some unreal saves.
Why am I blanking where he was before? Because he was on the French team, wasn't he? Was he Lille? No, it was Strasbourg.
Yeah, and they brought him in because they had that whole shit show with Fletcher Demos Odysseus and then Matt Turner, and they just couldn't figure anything out. And they brought in Matt Sells, and I remember thinking, is this really an upgrade? It's a huge upgrade. He has been so good.
Yep. No, he has been superb. And, I mean, there's players on this Forest bench as well where they actually have the depth to compete. Awoniyi has been pretty decent this year. Alex Moreno has stepped up at times. Guy I'm amazed we aren't seeing more of is James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah.
Because he's been solid the last few years and did really well for Southampton before he transferred last season.
Mhm.
That is one that this team is legit.
They are. They 100% are. And beyond the guys that we just named, other guys have been stepping up in huge, huge ways. I think
Yeah.
Morgan Gibbs White, especially as of recent, has been phenomenal. Hudson Odoi and Alanga are great going forward. I love watching them because, again, they're not the best in the world, but they've got the potential to beat anybody with their pace and their dribbling. They keep defenders honest, you know? And again, they're not going to be burying goals left and right. They're no Mo Salah, but they will cause chaos. And it's been working for them so far. They just like their team is just I just seeing this from them is just unbelievable. You wouldn't expect it. And then the center back partnership of Milinkovic and Murillo has been very good. It's been solid.
I like Milinkovic. He's
Good.
a big physical player. I mean, it's like Mitrovic, the other Serbian, the Serbian striker who used to play for Fulham. You're just big. He's going to be bigger than you. He's going to be more physical, and he's going to make your life a living hell. Sure, he might slip up once or twice, but he's been class recently.
He's so good in the air too.
Yeah,
that's what I love. He's just wins so much, and like you said, physical, strong, and all that. I will say this from a Liverpool perspective: Arne Slot got substitutions more right than any manager I've ever seen in my life. Because first touch to first touch equals a goal for the two substitutes. It was Simicast's first touch is a great ball to Jota, who's just wide open and just had to. Can you feel any better as a manager than that? You need something to go your way. You make two subs, and they, on their first touch, 22 seconds into the game, they score. That was unreal.
Yeah, and I mean, fair play to Liverpool to fight back and get that. Numbers, as we said, were dominating in their favor, but they couldn't find the back of the net. Two subs, they come on, as you say, 22 seconds and get it done. Want to say fair play then to the other defensive, again, Forest for shutting down Luis Diaz, Mo Salah, Cody Gakpo, who have been on fire. I mean, Mo Salah still leads the league in goals. I want to say, what was he at, 18 now?
Yeah.
18 to Holland, 16 to Isak's 15. We have us a race this year as well.
We do. And it's gone fun because for a bit, it looked like Liverpool was going to run away with it.
Yes.
It had that feeling.
And that was going to be my next question for you is, if you, with Liverpool, would you be concerned at, okay, we just drew with Forest again. We already lost to them. We're now only 4 points clear, but we have a match in hand.
Mm-hmm. I feel like you still feel confident, right?
Yeah.
You have confidence in your guys. You have confidence in your team. You still only lost one game all year, you know? So you still got to be confident, but you need to be wary because Arsenal and Forest are also having very good years. And I know we got the Forest fall off wrong. We got the Chelsea fall off right. I'm glad about that. We called that. But Forest and Arsenal are also having phenomenal seasons. So you still have to be wary, you know? Yeah. The game in hand's helpful. You know, you're 4 points ahead of Arsenal right now with that game in hand against Everton, who's going through a managerial change. We'll see what happens with David Moyes at the helm. You look at that as easy 3 points on paper. So I don't think you should be concerned, but you do need to look ahead and be like, we can't mess around because we have City on the road. We've got Newcastle coming up. We've got Arsenal, which it is at home, but you do have to play Arsenal again. And on top of that, you're trying to make a Champions League run. So how are you going to manage the squad? Where are you going to make rotations? Where are you going to make sure that you don't get caught sleeping by a team like Aston Villa, a team like Brighton, you know? So you got to be wary. But
that was going to be my big point for Liverpool compared to Arsenal is like Arsenal's out of the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Liverpool's going to keep winning. I mean, who do they have next? They have Plymouth, Argyle.
Give me Plymouth, but yeah.
But it is to your point. They're trying to make a Champions League run. I'm sure Arsenal is, but I have a feeling Arsenal's going to slip up somewhere.
Let us have faith.
I mean,
I have a feeling too. I have a feeling too.
But compared to Liverpool, I feel like Liverpool's just their team has more experience.
Liverpool looks like a team that could legitimately win it, Arsenal's a team that looks like they could make a run if everything went well.
Like,
That's the
I
difference.
can see Arsenal doing what Tottenham did. You make a run, make it to the final, and then kind of just it's
Lose.
one of those weird games where
Yeah.
nothing goes right. But Liverpool's been it's going to be interesting to see because they do, like you said, they have to play everybody still.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, because it feels so late into the season, the season already feels so long. I guess just because we've had so many games in a short amount of time, but there's so much footy left to be played.
Oh yeah, I mean, we're 21 matches in for everyone except Everton and Liverpool.
We've barely started the second half of the season. Liverpool's only played one more game over the halfway mark.
Yeah.
So there's a long way to go.
I mean, you got to look. The last day of the season, the 25th of May, we still have over 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot can change in 4 months.
Yes.
I don't know if that much can, but
enough. A 7-point lead's not enough.
No, it is not, because all it is one slip up. And I got to say, as far as Forest goes, I still think they could pull something together here.
Mm-hmm. They're only 9 points back if Liverpool wins that game in hand.
And like you look at their next 3 matches: home to Southampton, at Bournemouth, home to Brighton, then at Fulham. Those are 4 very winnable matches for them.
Mm-hmm.
This is the stretch that I'm concerned about for Forest. Coming the end of February, beginning of March. Away to Newcastle, home to Arsenal, home to Man City.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to make or break this Forest team season, in my opinion. And early prediction, I think they lose all 3. Maybe get a point against Man City or something, but I have a feeling they're going to lose all 3 of those games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I've been so wrong about Forest all season that
that's what I was going to say.
It's going to be 3 wins, which if it is, we'll have us a doozy.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that the Liverpool and Arsenal match is about the third to last match of the season. So
that could be, dude. That could be
one hell of a.
That could actually be an unreal matchup if both teams keep winning and doing their thing. We'll see what happens. Again, we got a long way to go.
Yeah, we do. But we are also going to move on from that to one of the teams we've just talked a little bit about and how they've been a cluster of a mess this season. Man City, once again in the mud. 2-0, and you effed it up in the last few minutes. Foden, 2 goals about a quarter of the way through the second half, 66th minute, and then the 78th minute. You're thinking, Man City, okay, they're going to. This will be their 4th consecutive win across all competitions. Maybe they're getting back in form. Then something switched, and the defense that you've talked time and time again about how bad and how inconsistent it is, lets up. Visa, who has been superb for Brentford this year. I mean, what does he have? He's 11 goals. So, and that's the second on the team, which is crazy.
Yeah, he and Mbeumo have been insane.
He gets the 82nd minute goal to bring him within 1. And then Norgard gets the equalizer in the 92nd minute to steal a point. Absolute highway robbery, in my opinion. But they did it. And I don't know if this is more fair play to Brentford for fighting through or what the hell is going on with Man City. And they tried a new formation. It looked like it was 3 in the back, unlike the 4 they usually play. Kind of switched up their attacking prowess as well, but nothing worked in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And shout out Phil Foden. Looks like he's finally finding his form yet again, which is good to see from a City perspective.
Took him long enough to.
Yeah, it's been all year basically, but he showed his class in this game. That first finish, a deft little touch, bottom corner off the post, beautiful. And then obviously followed up for that second goal as well. That's not been their problem. Scoring goals has not been their problem, and we've harped on this over and over. Defensively, they are shambolic, and it showed yet again. Visa's goal, he's wide open. He was able to take a touch, sit Ortega on his ass, and just put it into the back of the net like nothing. I don't know what City was doing. Ake missed a header. Wide open.
Oh, I mean, City should have won this game 4-1, if not more, because they had all these chances, didn't take them, had a mess up behind in defense. That this is one that they're going to look back and be like, what the hell? It's one of many, because this has been a disastrous year for them. You and I were talking before the show started about the Champions League and all that. City's barely safe at the moment from being eliminated from the Champions League altogether. Big game with PSG next week, but we're not going to dive into that. But this is just a bad year for City. They get knocked out of the cup early-ish. Sure, they go in the FA Cup. They win 8-0 against Salford City, which kind of enjoy that because that's Man U juniors. So, but then you come and do that. They play Ipswich this weekend. Not convinced that goes the way everyone thinks it will. Ipswich is firing on all cylinders at the moment.
Yeah, they're doing well.
Yeah, won 2 of their last 3, including beating Chelsea, a win in the cup. So won't be as easy as you'd expect it to be. In the way that they played against Man City early in the season, they got off to a very good start. And then Haaland kind of stepped up. But
yeah,
I think this Ipswich team has learned from that game and learned from their mistakes in that one. And it's also Erling Haaland early in the season. You know damn well he's going to get going. But this isn't about Ipswich. It's about Man City. And I don't know what their target is for this year. I don't even know if they have an aim. Maybe it's the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Because I don't see them winning the league. They're 12 points back of Liverpool, who, like we said many times, have a game in hand.
So
they won 15 points back. They're done. Finished. Zilch. They could get Champions League. Only 3 points back of Newcastle, 2 back of Chelsea. But the way Newcastle's been playing at the moment, good luck catching them.
Yeah. No. And Phil Foden came out and he said in an interview that they acknowledge it's out of their reach at this point.
Yeah.
You know, it just is. When you look at the quality Liverpool has, they're not catching Liverpool. You know, the only 2 teams that could catch Liverpool right now are Arsenal and Forest. Right now, again, a lot can change, a lot to go, but City's not going to win the title.
No.
But if you want to have a successful rest of the campaign, you got to figure things out defensively. Going back to this Brentford game, it was going to be 3-2 had Nathan Ake not cleared one off the line.
Yeah, that's true. They almost lost that game.
They almost lost the game despite dominating and being up 2-0 because they can't defend for their lives.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad. And they just signed a young Brazilian center back, Vitor Reis, who usually wouldn't have a shot at getting into this lineup. But with how things are going right now, I wonder if we see him enter the lineup very soon. Again, you're missing Ruben Diaz, but that shouldn't matter when you've got a back line with the talent of Vardiol, Ake, Akanji. And I know, sure, there's the 3-back and you have like Nunez playing in a different kind of role and stuff like that. But
still, those 3 would be starting. Those 3 would be starting on virtually any team in the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
I think exceptions are Arsenal and Liverpool. I think those are the only 2 real exceptions of where they wouldn't start. Yeah. And Man City, I guess, because of all the talent they have there.
And even then, I don't know, dude. It's just, it doesn't make sense because on paper they should be fine.
Yeah.
You know? And it hasn't worked with Ederson in goal. It hasn't worked with Ortega in goal.
That's a whole nother issue is how Ederson's been playing this year.
Yeah.
He's letting stuff just go through him.
Ederson. That's why Ortega's playing.
Yeah.
And I know Ederson was injured for a bit, but that's why Ortega's playing.
Yep. And then I will say that's what separates them from the likes of Liverpool. Liverpool lose their goalkeeper in Alisson for a month and a half. Don't miss a beat. Man City lose their goalkeeper, struggle iffy. Then he comes back and he's struggling. And Alisson came back for Liverpool and was acted like he didn't miss a game.
Yeah.
Playing and this is so unlike this Man City team. We're so used to them having the depth, having the players all step up. And I wonder if it is fatigue is finally catching up to them. With the treble 2 years ago, they've been playing so many matches across all competitions. Maybe it was just one of those years where everyone got gassed, injuries caught up to them. Mm-hmm. I'm not opposed. It's nice to finally have a changing of the guard again, but
yes, it is.
We shall see.
We shall.
Another team, another game that ultimately, I mean, we had a brilliant day of games yesterday on Tuesday. Obviously, Forest finished 1-0 with Liverpool. The Brentford Man City won. West Ham, which we're not going to dive into, beat Fulham 3-2, and one that Fulham almost stole a point towards the end, but couldn't quite. And then Chelsea and Bournemouth, which that's one we're going to dive into. Chelsea get off to an early start. Cole Palmer continues doing what the Iceman does, getting a goal, putting him up 1-0. Second half, Bournemouth keep fighting, and fair play to Bournemouth. They really went at it. Get two back, and then Reece James, of all people, in virtually the last kick of the game, the 95th minute, scores a free kick to save a point.
Mm-hmm.
This was one that, honestly, I think a draw was a very fair result in the end, but Chelsea should have ran away with this based on the statistics. 10-3 shot on target, 26-7 total shots, 57% possession. They had double the expected goals, yet Bournemouth kept it going and kept it together and really could have had 3 points if it wasn't for a dumb late challenge that resulted in a free kick for the Blues.
Yeah. They should have won. They should have. They fell apart. I mean, giving up the penalty, and then the Semenyo goal was good, from his perspective. And it's kind of one of those weird ones, right? You force him outside, and you expect your goalkeeper to save it in your post, but you don't expect a dude to rifle it like that. That I think more credit needs to be given to Semenyo on that than really knocking on Chelsea, because that was a phenomenal finish. But the disappointing thing is you're up 1-0. You look like you're in full control, and then you let Bournemouth, who's on the road, by the way, you're at home if you're Chelsea, you let them come back and take the lead, and it takes a Reece James goal in the 95th minute from a free kick, which, by the way, if you're Bournemouth, you don't foul like that.
No.
You just don't foul like that.
He just went in. There wasn't even any question. It was always going to be a foul.
Mm-hmm. It was such a foul. You saw it the moment he started the windup for the tackle. You knew it was going to be a foul. It was one.
You also have to know who's going to be taking free kicks for the other team. And I'm honestly happy for Reece James. He's gone through so much troubles and so many injuries in the last few years that, as much as I would have loved to see Bournemouth steal this, fair play to him for coming back, fighting through all the criticism and injuries to get that. So, for the hat there, but still, this is one they should have won. Like I said earlier, with another match, should have been like 4-1, 5-1 even. They dominated in every single aspect of the game, yet could not find a way to get it past the goalkeeper, Mark Travers. So,
and we talked about this and mentioned it earlier. We figured there would probably be some form of a drop-off with Chelsea. Here's how things have gone since this drop-off has started. 0-0 with Everton on December 22nd. 2-1 loss to Fulham December 26th, Boxing Day. 2-0 defeat to Ipswich Town December 30th. 1-1 draw with Palace on January 4th. Obviously, you had some FA Cup and all that stuff thrown in. And then the 2-2 draw yesterday. They have not won a Premier League game. What is that? In 5 games. It's been 5 games since they've last won. We expected it.
A month ago today, the 15th of December, they beat Brentford. That was the last one. And it's not like they're playing good teams. It's not like whoever we were talking about who just played Liverpool. They played Newcastle. All these. You're playing Everton, relegation battle. Ipswich, relegation battle. Palace, relegation battle, but just jumped over Man U in the table, so haha. Fulham, who hasn't even been that good. They're 9th, but so out of that, but it's not good teams they're struggling against.
Yeah.
And then they go and score 5 in the I think they win Conference League. Hands down. No question about it. They are just killing everybody they've played. As are maybe one or two others, but they're the only team who's perfect. The plus 21 goal difference. They have 18 points from 6 matches. The next team is Vitória de Guimarães. or oh God, that's bad.
Portuguese team, yeah.
Portuguese team. So
Concordia.
I expect them to win that, and maybe that's okay with them. Maybe they don't care about like fighting for Europe again this year because
Mhm.
I mean, they're still a good team. It's just something's not clicking at the moment, and it's kind of
Yeah.
what you and I predicted would happen. So
Mhm.
I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah, and with a young squad and a first-year manager who's also young, by the way, you expect it. You expect a fall off to happen at some point. I do think you'll see a turnaround, and I do think Chelsea ultimately gets Champions League qualification. And that'll be a phenomenal season for him. After everything that this club has been through, even if they don't and they win Conference League and they get like, I don't know, 5th or 6th, that's a win on the season. That is
Well,
a huge step in the right direction. So,
this
yeah,
Chelsea team reminds me a lot of the Arsenal teams early in Arteta's
yeah,
managing.
it's a good
There
shot.
it was a mess. Managers were coming in and out.
Mhm.
Players weren't in the right positions. It wasn't the right players for the team. Kind of just buying whoever, and now someone comes in with a game plan, sits everyone down, gets everyone on the same page, and then it starts clicking. First year, yeah, okay, you're in fourth at the moment. That's not too bad. Or no, fifth at the moment. That's not too bad. Say you finish sixth, seventh. But like you said, win conference league. That's a successful season.
Yeah.
Then you can build on it for next year. And that's what we were talking about. That's what we were both shocked about
Mhm.
at the beginning of the season when they fired their former manager and
Yeah.
changed it. So they needed some consistency, and I think now they have it. And this is a team that I can see build some momentum going forward over the next couple of years.
Yeah. 100%.
Any other matches from this kind of midweek? Which that came out of nowhere. I just saw on Tuesday. I was like, oh God, there's
Yeah.
games. But are
Fun
there any things you
surprise.
want to touch on before we kind of look ahead at this upcoming weekend's action?
I think we covered the biggest ones. We're shouting Newcastle out again. Alexander Isak. We talked about it earlier, but
So,
Newcastle's on a tear. They're killing it.
yeah, I mean Newcastle have won what 9 in a row across all competitions at the moment.
They're killing it. And it started as soon as Isak started scoring. That just elevated everyone else's confidence in the squad. They are crushing it right now.
Yeah, I mean that was their issue. It's
Mhm.
even in wins, they were winning like 1-0 or
Yeah.
drawing 1-all. They were losing. They were scoring 1 goals a game almost exclusively for the first half of the season. Maybe they had two here and there, but now that Isak's scoring, you see him putting up 4, 3 goals with ease.
Yeah.
So, oh, and we will preview their match in a second. But before we do that, we're going to do our match of the week. I think we always like to start out with, and this week is, yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's the
It's
best thing I
great,
can.
dude. After what we've seen,
After
man,
this past
great.
midweek's action,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. I didn't expect a lot of these to be as exciting as they were in the end,
And they were. Yeah.
and they were. So I mean, Premier League continues to surprise, but as far as it goes, the best match of the week in our opinion, the one that we have match of the week is Arsenal hosting Aston Villa. We've talked a bunch about Arsenal. Aston Villa, on the other hand, have been on a roll of their own. Recently, won 3 in a row across all competitions. They beat West Ham in the FA Cup, and that split wins over Leicester, wins over Everton. They beat Man City not too long ago. I think that was Boxing Day. Lost to Newcastle, which Newcastle, as we said, has been on a tear. So they've won, lost in their last 6 matches. What are
Yeah.
you expecting from Aston Villa that could challenge Arsenal, or do you think Arsenal kind of runs away with this? And because I like this Aston Villa side, I still think they're so feisty and so go at it. And this
Mhm.
is a statement not only for the league if they can go out and win, but also the Champions League.
Yeah.
Because
Uh,
currently they're tied in the Champions League, but
yeah.
Arsenal had. So
Yeah. I mean, Villa's a good team, hands down. And they're starting to show it again. It hasn't been quite the season they'd have wanted, where you're in the top four the whole year, basically, in kind of controlling your own destiny, if you will, in terms of qualifying for Champions League that way. But they're also balancing the rigors of a schedule that includes Champions League. And they've done a pretty good job for a team that's just doing it, tied with Arsenal in Champions League for third. I think they're in 5th on goal difference.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, so, I mean, they're killing it there. They're looking good to get a bye, looking good to miss that first knockout round, which would be a huge achievement. And in the league, they're really not that far off. They're
No.
in 7th place with 35 points. Champions League is 38 with Newcastle right now in 4th. They're 3 points back. They're right there. And again, there's so much season to go that they could very well keep playing well
Yeah.
and easily get Champions League. I wouldn't doubt it at all.
Personally, I agree. I think it's very doable for them. I think they ultimately will finish ahead of Chelsea because I do think Chelsea will slip up more. But I don't see them jumping either Man City or Newcastle. But it's also Man City, so we don't know. They could go and lose 5 in a row again.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah, you really don't know with them this year.
and that's the part of Aston Villa that I'm curious about. We've talked about it with Man City and how they're a lack of depth that they've had in the past. This Aston Villa team has kind of been grinding along, winning with not the deepest team in the world. Like, you have Leon Bailey, who could have come off the bench against Everton. They only ended up making one substitution, but it's like Ollie Watkins is balling out. Tyrone Mings has quietly had a very good season. In my opinion, this defense has been a little suspect, conceded 32 goals, but I
See
don't
who they
know.
just signed?
Oh, no. Who?
Daniel Mullen.
Really? Okay.
Good addition in
That
attack.
is a very good addition.
You add a little extra depth, and we'll see if he plays in the Arsenal game because he was a former Arsenal player. So I wonder if that has an element to it as well.
I'm hammering him to score. No.
Yeah. But Villa definitely's got weapons. You mentioned Watkins. You have Jean Duran as well. They've had offensive weapons all season, you know?
I mean, like you said, that Ollie Watkins is 9 goals, Jean Duran is 7, Morgan Rogers right behind with 6. Then you look at assists, Rogers, Watkins, and Yuri Tillemans all have 4 assists. John McGinn has been playing well. Ross Barkley seems to have revived himself this season at times. So this is a weirdly built team that just seems to work at the moment.
Yeah. And
with that being said,
I'm just going to give a shout out to Morgan Rogers as well because I think that dude's an absolute stud.
This year.
With all that said, you're about to say this. I go Arsenal.
I do as well. I'm going 2-0 to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Maybe 2-1, but I'll stick with my gut. Go 2-0 to Arsenal. I just think Arsenal is too good. There's a reason they've only conceded 19 goals.
Yeah.
They're one of 2 teams who have allowed less than a goal per game. The other one, Nottingham Forest. It's the only other team to have allowed less than 1 goal per game so far this season. So give me Arsenal's defense. I see them keeping a clean sheet. And after this rough past week, I think the momentum of winning the North London Derby after going 3 in a row winless will be the momentum they need to kind of, that mixed with the Liverpool Nottingham Forest draw will be like, okay, this is it. This is our time to finally do the Man City.
Yeah.
Which I could very well see Arsenal doing that.
I could too. It won't happen because it's Arsenal. And I just can't have any happiness in my life when it comes to them actually winning a Premier League title that I can remember.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's how I feel.
You also watch Iowa football, so.
Yeah, I kind of enjoy self-inflicted pain.
Hey, I'm there with you. Leeds consistently bad.
Yeah, it's just
it consistently chokes.
It's part of being a fan, right? You got to go through the rough patches, even if it's the rough patches your entire fucking life.
Yeah.
So,
but no, I think we're on the same page. I think Arsenal is going to win this. Moving on to a couple other ones. Newcastle, do they make it 10 in a row against Bournemouth? And the real question is, does Alexander Isak score his 9th consecutive Premier League match?
I got to go yes and yes. Because how could you say no when you've seen how things have been going? You know, Bournemouth, very good team, playing very well, gotten some good results recently. They could definitely be a team that ends Newcastle's hot streak, for sure. Like, I wouldn't be overly surprised to see it happen. I expect Newcastle to win, but if Bournemouth is to win, I'd be like, all right, Bournemouth's a good team. They've gotten some good results. It's not that far-fetched, but way Newcastle's playing right now, the way Alexander Isak is playing right now, how could you pick against them?
No,
The
exactly.
dude is phenomenal right now.
And it's not just and I know I said this a couple weeks ago, but it's not just him as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he's not getting on the stat sheet as much, but Sandro Tonali, this is why they spent all the money to bring him in from AC Milan a few years ago. Sure had his suspension, and I think he's come back as a better player because of all that than he was before when he first got to Newcastle. Anthony Gordon's been balling out recently. He scored again today against Wolves. He is 6 on the season. Harvey Barnes sits 5 on the season. Jacob Murphy out of nowhere has 7 assists.
Yeah, he's had a good season, dude. He's been really good.
Erupted. Then obviously Isak, who's my honest. I don't think he'll do it, but I would love to see him edge out Mo Salah and Erling Haaland for
I don't think I catch him.
But no, like Murphy has gotten assist before the Wolves match, or I guess even including, he has 4 assists in 6 matches.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole team has been good. I think they win comfortably. I'm taking them 3-0 again.
Yeah.
Nothing against Bournemouth. And the way they played against Chelsea will not keep them in the match like it would against Newcastle.
Yeah.
Newcastle takes advantage of their opportunities. That's Chelsea's issue. Once again, outside of Cole Palmer, it's so hard to find someone to put the ball in the back of the net.
It is.
Isak's doing it, as we just said. A whole lot of other guys are. Give me Newcastle. Give me them 3-0.
I'm going 2-0. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. I don't see Bournemouth stopping Newcastle right now. Because even if Isak doesn't score, I bet you someone else steps up. Yep. Because there's going to be so much focus put on Alexander Isak that Anthony Gordon can punish, Murphy can punish. Coming off the bench, you got to have Miguel Almiron maybe doing something. Joe Willock even. I don't know. Friggin' Joe Linton. Give me Guimaraes. I don't know. Someone else will step up, I feel like, if Isak is shut down. That's just the vibe Newcastle's giving right now. They're playing so well. They're playing as a unit. The Sandro Tonali shout that you had is spot on. He has been fantastic and is a huge reason why they've looked so good because he is controlling the midfield for them.
And he's slowing it down when he needs to, but at the same time, he's finding the wingers in Gordon and Guilhermes. He's finding Isak, Murphy. He's just controlling the tempo and can speed it up, slow it down as he needs. I don't want to get carried away yet, but Newcastle is giving early Man City vibes in a way.
From back in the day.
From like,
you can't have another evil empire, dude.
Aguero, where you know he's going to just put the ball in the back of the net. Balotelli's there right next to him. You have a decent midfield led by one guy who just controls the tempo, and a defense just kind of finds ways to slow people down. Also, they're both owned by Arab billionaires, so
by Middle Eastern countries.
Yeah, I guess that's a better way to put it.
Yeah. There are parallels there for sure, where you see like the beginning of cities.
But I just compared Arsenal as well, so I mean, we'll see. But Newcastle, God, I honestly, I'd rather them do it than Man City. But
give us a change of pace, but I'll get bored of it after about 2 seasons of them being kick-ass good. That's how it goes.
Yeah. Why can't we just have? Because I know it would never be Leeds in a million years. Can we get Blackburn Rovers back to fighting for a Premier League title?
What a shout! When was the last time they were doing that? The 90s?
Yeah. What did they win? They won the
Alan Shearer time.
It was Alan Shearer. I think it was the 96 season, or it was 90. It might have been 94, 95. Let's see.
Yeah, but that was live.
Yeah. Yeah, they won the league. I mean, hey, they're not exactly doing too hot in the championship, but that's okay. We don't expect much from them.
Nah, wow, what a blast. Bro, imagine them in like Forest. So they just become the new big two. That shift.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So they won. Oh, here's trivia for you if you ever talk with Blackburn fans. They've won the first division / Premier League 3 times. 94-95 season,
Mhm.
the 1911-1912, and 1914 season. Talk about a gap between winning. 81 years, and they finished runners up on the 80th anniversary of them winning the title. That would have been.
Oh, that's brutal.
Oh, it gets better. They've won 6 FA Cups,
Mhm.
and this is going off on a complete tangent. So
That's all good. We're gonna do one.
They won 6 FA Cups. They won 3 consecutive from 1883 to 86.
Mhm.
Then they won 2 more, 89, 90, and then 90, 91, and then 1927 and 1928.
Wow.
Talk about a team. And we make fun of Tottenham. I guess they've at least won something in the
Yeah, at
last
least they've won something. I mean,
30 years.
yeah. Give me 1 sec. It just got real dark in here real
Oh,
fast.
you're real good. I'm just going to keep rambling about these random things. The Football League War Cup. Bet you didn't know that was a thing.
The what?
The Football League War Cup.
No, I had no idea that was a thing.
Me neither. But the winners are incredible. We have going from 40 to 45. I guess it was just some different weird. I don't even know what cup. But there is a trend. There's one team who made multiple finals. Arsenal.
Yeah.
They lost to Preston North End and lost to Blackpool.
Sounds about right.
Well, there's my rant. There's some weird stuff out there. I want to.
Footy history is rich.
Hilarious.
It's wild. Especially the English footy history, dude. There's some interesting stuff.
Oh, absolutely. It's something.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? We will see what happens in the next couple seasons, next couple days. I don't know. I think Blackburn played today, actually. They beat Portsmouth, another team with a rich footballing history. Beat them 3-0.
Dude, a lot of those lower level teams have insane histories.
Yeah. I mean, like, you look at it.
Derby County.
We talked at one point in time, you've got Derby. You have West Brom, who's been a Premier League staple. Stoke, Sunderland, Portsmouth, and historically. Then billionaires come in and buy the other teams. So,
yeah.
Why couldn't it have been Leeds?
Luck of the draw, dude.
Because we got bought by a criminal.
Any worse than the Glazers?
Oh, God. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Glazers aren't much better. Why am I blanking? Who's the Arsenal owner?
Kroenke.
Oh, that's right. Kroenke has won
Yeah.
many titles recently, but
Just
not
with
with
Arsenal.
He's even won
LA, Denver, but not Arsenal.
He's won, what was it? It was like in over a 3-year stretch. He won the Super Bowl with the Rams, the Stanley Cup with the Avs, the lacrosse title with the Mammoth.
I did not know he did that.
Yeah, he owns the Colorado Mammoth, and they won the title the same year as the Avs, and then the Nuggets. He's due one across the pond.
I swear to God. So he's due a soccer one. If it's the Colorado Rapids and not Arsenal, I'm gonna freak.
Let me put that out there. The Rapids
are kind of good.
Title more recently than Arsenal.
Yeah. Rapids are looking good too, man. Just
really,
they've got some decent players coming back. They got some U.S. internationals who didn't quite work out in Europe coming back.
Okay, but is this like when the Rapids went out and got Tim Howard and Jermaine Jones?
Yeah, that was more of a retirement for
them.
Okay. Yeah, that was more like a retirement move. Tim Howard was already washed. They were already washed. Now they got like some pretty good guys.
At Rapids games were electric when it was Tim Howard and Jermaine Jones, solely because you're like, whoa, these guys are actually good. Unlike everyone except Pablo Mascheroni.
Yeah. Well, now they got Zach Steffen came back. He's doing pretty well.
Right. Yeah.
Sam Vines, Reggie Cannon, Georgi Mihailovic. Like all these U.S. guys who went overseas who didn't quite work out, they came back. Yeah, they got a decent little lineup going. I know we're on a completely different tangent right now. It's end of the show. We're losing it, but it's all good. We were good up until the very end.
Per usual. All we have to do, we had one Iowa football shout. We went into the history of Blackburn Rovers and their titles in the 1800s. Now we're talking about the MLS.
Colorado Rapids. Who they got?
Neymar to the MLS.
Yeah, 3 teams interested.
I don't know who the third was. Did you see? Because I saw Chicago Fire, Inter Miami, who legally can't sign him at the moment without getting rid of somebody.
Yeah.
Who was the third? I'm assuming it was an LA team.
I'm going to guess LA.
That's my only.
It's going to be a big market. Maybe New York, but I'm guessing LA.
I forgot that San Diego's getting a team this year.
Yeah, dude, Chucky. Mexico's wonder boy.
Yeah. God. All right. That's enough of a tangent. We were going to kind of dive a little bit into one more match, but we're already at the hour mark. So unless you really want to dive into any other ones, I'm ready for some predictions and get on our merry way to enjoy a Wednesday night. We're going to skip the 2 matches that are being played tomorrow on Thursday, January 16th, but move into the weekend. Brentford, Liverpool. Who do you see getting this one done?
Liverpool. I think we see a reaction from the disappointment of the Forest draw. Brentford's a good team. I could see him scoring. I think they will score, to be honest. At home, I think they'll get a goal. I don't know why. I just feel like they will. And it's not a bad shout considering how good they are offensively.
And maybe the fact that Mbumo and Visa have combined for 24 goals.
Yeah, together. Exactly. So I think they'll get a goal, but I think Liverpool gets 3.
Yeah.
Give me 3. I think we see a reaction. They look good.
I'm following you with that one. I'm saying 1 as well, just because I do think Brentford will somehow get on the score sheet. Foxes and the Cottagers. Leicester City hosting Fulham. I'm going Fulham.
Mm-hmm.
Leicester's in the mud. They're, in my opinion, them and Southampton, in my opinion, are already relegated. It's a matter of, is it Everton, Ipswich, or Wolves? Fingers. Oh God! If Man U falls into the, they're just far enough out of the way.
They're fine. They're gonna be fine.
But hear me out. We suddenly get these bottom teams hot: Tottenham, Man U, and Everton relegated.
Wouldn't that be awesome? What a world!
Oh my God, this absolute scenes. But regardless, I'm having Fulham. I'm gonna take them 2-1. I think it's gonna be a scrappy game, but I'm leaning Fulham.
Yeah, I'm going Fulham. Give me 2-0.
Team that's been climbing up the table, Crystal Palace. They head to another London side, so another London derby against West Ham. Who are you taking in this one?
I'm going 1-1 draw. Okay. Palace has loved their draws recently, so this is a little lazy because I've just been seeing it a lot, but I do think it'll end 1-1. Like you said, they've been on pretty good run of form recently because I remember early in the year we're like, dude, Palace is absolutely terrible. What is this? But recently they've been putting some results together. They look pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, the issue with Palace early in the season was it wasn't like they were getting battered every week.
Mm-hmm.
They were just drawing.
Yeah.
They have 7 losses, 5 wins, and 9 draws. I love that shout.
Yeah.
But I'm going to lean God, I'm in too much because West Ham has lost 3 straight before beating Fulham.
But they do have Graham Potter at the helm.
They do now.
And I have faith in at a club like West Ham.
I do as well. I'm leaning West Ham. I'm going to say 1-0.
Hold up. Sorry. I have no idea what just happened there.
Well,
there we go. New webcam just caught on to me doing emotion. Yeah, that was insane.
Moving on. Everton, Tottenham. 2 teams kind of both in the relegation zone. So who do you have in this one?
I got to go Tottenham.
Yep.
I got to go Tottenham. I think David Moyes is going to need a little bit of time. If he's going to turn things around, I don't think this is going to be it. I think Tottenham wins this one. I don't think it's a good game, though. I'm going 2-1. I think it's pretty dire. I think we have some scrappy goals, but I think Tottenham wins 2-1.
I have this being this one's my draw. I have this being just an absolute dumpster fire of a game. 1-1, not very exciting. Maybe an early goal and a goal just randomly that finds the back of the net. I predict 2 own goals. I heard it now, but yeah, I just have a feeling this game's gonna suck. I don't think Everton win it. I think if anyone does, it is Tottenham, like you said, but I'm leaning draw.
Mm.
Man U hosting Brighton. I can't pick for Man U. I'm going to take Brighton. Even though it really hasn't been looking that great as of late, they're still not losing games, whereas Man U is.
Yeah.
And also, I guess they both have – both of them have to play tomorrow. Both of them against relegation battling sides. I'm wondering if Man U's going to get a little lackadaisical with Southampton and kind of slip up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going draw. I think we see another 1-1 in this. I just can't pick between them. I'm wondering if Man U's maybe turning a positive corner with their results with Liverpool and Arsenal, which I know technically on paper are draws, but one of them you win in pens and the other felt like a win.
Yeah.
And you probably should have put that last goal away if you're Harry Maguire, and you do win. So I think maybe we're seeing a little bit of a positive change, and we'll see what happens with the game tomorrow. I bet you they win because it's Southampton. Yeah. So with this, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and go 1-1 draw. I think that, for me, that's what I think it's going to be.
Team who you just brought up, Southampton, we're going to move on to their match at Nottingham Forest. How bad is it?
Give me 3-0. I'm not going to go anything too crazy, but I think it's comprehensive enough.
Yeah, I'm taking them 2-0. I just think Southampton's so bad. I just don't think this. Awful. I don't think this is going to be one because it's not like Forest is putting away the ball nearly as much. They're very much a defensive team. They've only scored 30 goals compared to like the other teams around them. Chelsea at 41, Newcastle 37, Arsenal 41, Liverpool 48. They're not scoring, so I think it'll be a 2-0 or even like a 2-1 kind of game. But I do think Man City beats the living hell out of Ipswich again.
Yeah.
They come out and win like 4-0.
I was thinking 4-1.
So, I mean, 4-1 makes sense because they always seem to concede.
That's the problem. They'll concede a goal, and I won't get my fantasy points because of it.
Yep. God, I forgot about Premier League fantasy. I'm scared to look at my team. But
my team crush it because I have Foden and Isak.
Oh, that's the way to do it.
So I know my team's been ever since Isak started scoring. I have been kicking ass in my league.
I bet.
Yeah, because Watkins has been doing all right. Now that Foden's playing, I got Diaz, who for a while was good. I don't know what he's doing now, but it's starting to look up.
Excellent. And then Chelsea Wolves is the last one. I'm gonna lean Chelsea just because Wolves are so bad.
Yeah.
I don't know why. This game just has something weird is gonna happen in it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a weird goal or a weird thing with the fans. There's just something. Yeah. There's something in my gut about this one that's going to be a little weird. Don't know what. We'll see. That's my bold prediction, I guess.
There you go.
I'm on the field.
I could see it.
I'm
still going Chelsea. I think this is where you see them start to turn things around, but give me something weird. Give me something interesting.
Yeah, because, I mean, I don't know why. Just looking at, like, the app I have where I have all the games listed, the logos just look like something iffy is going to happen. I don't –
fair.
Hey, we'll see. Jackson, on that note, any final thoughts or anything else you want to get off your chest about the footballing world before we wrap this one up?
Nothing much. Isak's Arsenal's dream signing, though. That's my dream signing. Just throwing that out there.
Isak's Arsenal's dream signing for like the last 3 years.
Yeah, but it's like amplified now. Every single day it just increases.
Oh, I know a guy you guys could have for very cheap as well. You need Patrick Bamford.
Yeah, let's not do that, actually. Let's not. I remember when I thought he was actually going to be pretty good.
Yeah, and then he started podcasting and hasn't done anything relevant.
Maybe that's the issue. Maybe that's why I'm not pro right now. I just started podcasting. You just tank.
Maybe we're distracting from you. So, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Jackson, it's a pleasure as always. Make sure you guys subscribe to that button below. Make sure you don't miss any of our other It's Called Football shows or anything else on the Vendetta Sports Media YouTube channel. Got a good episode coming next week when we talk some European footy. This upcoming weekend should be a blast. If it's anything like this midweek's matches, we're in for a treat. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week.